talk in all of the year that I go completely self-indulgent. And I get to talk about what has revealed itself in my life since I've been a very small child. And that's the Golden Radiance. And as a child, of course, you don't ever talk about it. You know, you don't really know anything that's happening. It's just, it happens. There's a disappearance in it, a dissolution. And, you know, bliss is a mild word for the experience. And so, because I always loved Jesus very much, I would just call it, that was Jesus, right? Jesus showed up. It's good enough, right? And then when I became older and had many more, you know, as an adult you can take in the experiences a little bit more, and you ask questions about them. And over and over and over, there would be this unified presence. And it always also was, it was a golden radiance. And we were talking about it the other night at satsang, that I still thought it was from outside in. I thought something was happening from the outside and coming in. And there are descents. I mean, it isn't, and what I mean by a descent is, you know, the divine is this unfathomable infinite grace. And the divine does descend. There's this. But it isn't something that you're not. You know, it's just something that is more of an ascent. I mean, a descend, right? It's coming in. And the ascent is, there's a certain kind of openness to it, right? There's a certain kind of an availability. If you're walking around with, you know, this huge cloud and you're angry at everybody and life is crap and, you know, have a lot of ideas about everything and everybody is out to get you, probably that's not going to be the, you know, the receptivity. I mean, once in a while, God gets through no matter what. In fact, sometimes in just incredible suffering, there's a gap, something breaks down, and the descent can happen. But for me, it was not so much in great times of suffering that this golden radiance would appear, but it would just, you know, I have no idea why it would come at certain times and why it wouldn't. One time I was driving back from Kansas City in a car, and it was snowy, and I was, you know, watching the ice, and the huge, unfathomable, unimaginable descent of the golden light just entered. I had no idea what it was. And of course, at that point, there's no one there that cares. It's just like, yeah. And of course, when the descent happens, then it also activates that is within each cell. We are these golden beings. We are these radiant beings. And so, you know, it's just that it's been covered over with an idea and an image of ourselves. I mean, that's all it is. Isn't that a joke? So it begins to actually just activate what's there. And that's why the golden radiance, if you want to call that, is such a profound transmutive agent. It's the fire, it's the brilliant fire that burns everything that it's not up. And but for most of us, and that experience in the car, that was true for me as well, the body can't quite hold it. Do you hear what I'm trying to say? You know, it's such an unfathomable brilliance. It's such an astonishing radiance that it certainly activated something that's never gone back. It activated something that became very intimate. That's when the intimacy started to be this experience, was when that descent happened. Because the descent, that's the great gift of the Christ, or of Jesus, is that it became very personal, right? It became very human. And then it got all strange in the interpretation, that it was only through Jesus or something like strange like that. Can you imagine him saying that? Give me a break. But when the radiance actually begins to take the life, and that's what really is meant by giving your life to the Christ. Again, it got all kind of confused that it was the Christian interpretation. Someone called Jesus, and everyone else, was missing the boat. It's just that something begins to, the life then is taken by this. And rather than that triggering the ego, and the ego saying, oh my God, I can't handle that, not my will, but thy will. Or we get all romantic and not my will, but thy will. However we play with that, the ego plays with that. It used to terrify me. I was just stark terror. I got over it, thank God. So it takes the life. It consumes everything that it's not. And you can do it kicking and screaming and complaining along the way, or you can participate. So the reason why I say is this one time out of the whole year I can be very, very self-indulgent, is that there's a great caution, and that caution, I think, has merit, is to create this kind of glowy, visionary, light-filled, golden experience, right? Because the ego will grab that, and the ego wants that. And the ego will compare, if it has the opportunity to compare this experience to this, something like this, right? So there's a great caution. It's to keep it, very life, simple, ordinary. Don't grab that visionary brilliance. But I don't completely go along with that. I think those great, beautiful, brilliant visions and openness to what is. This is not some visionary's idea. The Golden Radiance is the actuality of our nature. It's the awakened state. It's the awakened state. It's the Christed consciousness. I wanted to bring it over, I just couldn't figure out how to do it. Marika has a painting that she so graciously lent me that I have over on the other side. And, it was so similar to many experiences that I've had, in that it's just this brilliant, brilliant, brilliant white, and this gold that just burst out, and it just burst everywhere, and there's nothing that it does not permeate, and there's nothing that it does not touch. So I think it's helpful to open to that actually is happening. We often